Danny Karen here. You know what's good? I mean, really good. It is really good. It's awesome. Look at my thumb, and why am I doing this with my thumb and my pointer? I don't know, but it looks pretty cool. It's kind of like the hazards on a car, but it's with like fingers instead of lights. I don't know. It's weird. It's crazy. It's different. I gotta tell you, you know what's different? I would say. I'm probably gonna mispronounce this word, but Levitarianism. It's different. It's unique. It's special. We know about vegetarians. We know about vegans. We know about herbivores, carnivores, omnivores. But I never in my life heard of a Levitarian. And usually, as you know, I start the show by talking about something that we all have in common, something that I noticed, and and then I would bring in my next guest. But today, right now, I just gotta talk about my guest and talk about how unique my next guest is, because I never heard of a Lifetarian before. I've had so many guests on this show before. I've had yoga instructors, mermaids, mermen, mers, singers, actors, all types of people, writers, artists. I've never heard of a Lifetarian before. I don't think you've heard of a Lifetarian before. So I gotta say, please welcome Jacob, the Lifetarian. Yay! Woo! Here he comes. Do 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 do. Do-ba-doo! Hello, Jacob.
Hello, Danny. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. What are you eating over there?
Right now I'm eating some dirt.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if the camera will pick it up very well.
Yeah, I see it now. Kind of looks like pudding.
No, yeah, if the camera was more high def on my end, you could see the grains. It's definitely not. It's not soupy like pudding. It's you can see the soil in there.
Really?
So, yeah, dirt is one of the main foundations of the Lifetarian diet.
Oh. And how much dirt do you eat?
A week, probably a few pounds. So I heard during your monologue you weren't sure what a Lifetarian is. I could explain it for your audience. I imagine there's some folks who never heard what a Lifetarian is either from your viewers.
That was actually my first question, and then we started talking about dirt. So please tell us about what is a Lifetarian.
Well, it's a good segue. So the reason I'm eating dirt is because Lifetarians, it's more than just a diet, okay? It's also it's a lifestyle. So Lifetarians don't eat anything that was ever alive, no meat and no plants, because plants, as we know, are living, but they're even more living than we typically give them credit for. Scientific articles, time and time again, have proven that plants are sentient beings that react to pain, external stimuli, and modify their behaviors to try to stay alive. But as we know, the vegans their MO is to murder the plants and then consume them.
Right. So you believe that plants have emotions?
Essentially, I mean, I'm not saying a plant is can go to school and get married and live the game of life that humans do, but that does not mean that they aren't equally as alive as humans and animals are. They're living by the way their structure is, and as I was saying before, I have some articles I could show you, scientific studies that show that plants recoil in fear when they're played the sound of a caterpillar munching on leaves, and they react to other external stimuli when their well-being is at risk or is in threat of being killed. So, I mean, you tell me. A plant recoiling in fear is more than even some humans can do. As we know, humans in a vegetative state can't do much. And they're called a vegetative state because vegetative, vegetable. So they're making that connection right there as well. But of course, we see vegetative humans as living. So why don't we see vegetables as living?
Right. Yeah. And I know, I heard that they react to like music. Some plants, like, and when you give them like positive words of encouragement, they grow better.
Very true. Good point. You did your research, Danny.
Um, I guess you could say that. Well, I actually do remember learning about those two things years ago, and like I just now made the connection because of course, having you on the show. So I gotta ask you about being a lifetarian. Like,
Uh-huh.
how does a lifetarian like? How do you go on dates, or how do you eat like at restaurants and stuff like that?
Good question. So the lifetarian diet, what we do eat, and like I said, nothing that was ever alive. So we eat water, dairy, as long as we're not harming the animal or the human, eggs, and dirt. So the reason I'm eating dirt is not some crazy out there theory. You could break it down pretty simply. Humans and animals typically get their vitamins and minerals from eating plants and things of the such. But where do plants get their minerals from? They get it from the dirt. So instead of murdering the middleman and consuming the plant, we're going straight to the source, okay? And so we're eating the dirt. And eating dirt has been a practice, for example, by indigenous tribes in Africa for centuries. They've been eating dirt and clay, and they some of these indigenous tribes that are very off the grid that have this diet live to be over 100 years old, because the true human potential is around 120 years old until, and at that point the human body eventually just starts breaking down by natural causes. But as you know, the westernized medicine and westernized diet, and Eastern as well, the typical living age is about 70 to 80 years old. As you know, many people get riddled with diseases and cancers and such, but lifetarians are going back to the true diet that humans and animals should have been eating, it, and that's eating the soil.
All right. So you go. All right. So if you were to take somebody out on a date, like, how would you do that? Like no one, like, you can't go into a restaurant at like 6, 7 o'clock at night and like they're not gonna really offer you eggs and they're not gonna be serving dirt. So like how would you do public eating? Let's say if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Let's say it's not even a date. Public eating, like eating in any type of restaurant. Like,
Sure.
how would you do that situation?
So, I am attempting to date. I have a profile on Craigslist. If any women want to check out my dating profile on Craigslist. But in terms of how I eat in public, typically I wouldn't even support establishments that sell plants or animals. But if I was absolutely forced to, I would probably doggy bag some of my own soil. Or if the restaurant has eggs, I mean, that's not too uncommon for a restaurant to have eggs. I'd probably order a hard-boiled egg and some water.
That's it, just a hard-boiled egg and water, and that's all.
Yeah,
that sustains you.
Yeah, well, we become so brainwashed as a species with marketing and people just trying to sell us and pitch us everything. We become consumers to a fault, where we want to eat an entire Domino's pizza or chicken wings with the boys on football night. So we don't really have to eat all of it. We're eating way too much as a species. As you can see by my physique, I'm in incredible shape. I'm the apex pretty much of what the human species physique is supposed to look like. I have no extra fat that's unneeded from an excessive diet, and I'm pretty much what folks should aim to be. So we don't need to eat huge, massive meals of tons of carbs and all that. It's just how we've been, as a species, brought up to be. But I'm trying to bring us back to our roots.
So let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
Do you feel healthy? As in, can you go out there and like play a sport, assuming that like you're really into playing whatever sport it is? Could you go out there playing like softball or basketball even, or do some sort of sport? Like, do you feel like you're healthier than the average person?
Yeah, so back in high school is when I first transitioned to a lifetarian lifestyle and diet, which was over 10 years ago now. So I've been a lifetarian for over a decade, and I've never gotten sick since I've been a lifetarian, and I've never had more energy than I have now. And as you know, sometimes some of the diets we eat when we go to Taco Bell at 3 a.m. and stuff away our depression with chalupas, we often feel heavy and bloated and sick at that point. But like I said, my diet goes back to the roots. So we're getting back to what nature intended our diets to be. I mean, when you look at animals, you don't see a tiger in the wild and it's obese and slumped and just dragging because he's so bloated from eating beer and Bavarian pretzels the night prior. They always have energy. They're always sprightly. They're always ready to go. And that's how humans should be too. We shouldn't be in these food comas and things of the sort. But as you said, with sports and fitness, I have a lifetarian fitness program. I'm a published author. In my book, I cover some of my my lifetarian fitness program. My book is on Amazon. It's called Life of a Lifetarian. So I have a fitness program called Lifetarian Fitness, but there's also a transitional program within there for jocks and meatheads and gym rats who are taking protein powders based off plants and such, and it's called the Jock Recovery Program because lifetarians typically don't support mainstream ruffian sports like football and those sports that are based on eating a lot of meat and steaks and getting big and burly and jacked with no purpose other than to roughhouse and hurt each other and damage each other and that kind of lifestyle where you're trying to compete 24/7 and you're trying to one up your opponent and bully others. We don't support that because that lifestyle breeds more meat eating and more animalistic urges where you want to sick each other and dominate your opponent. So the typical meathead jock wants to dominate like a lion dominates a zebra or a gazelle, and then they want to go to Burger King or Bobby's Burger Palace or Guy Fieri type people who just want to pounce and eat those burgers and pounce and eat that salad, that lettuce. So we typically don't really support sports in that way.
All right. I heard that. How are your relations with Guy Fieri? Like, have you ever confronted him? I know you don't like the guy.
That's true. So he had a book signing at a local bookstore. So when I heard he was there, I felt compelled to do what was right, to do the morally right decision was to go and confront him face to face. So you could see on my YouTube channel called Jacob the Lifetarian, or you can get there through my website, lifetarian.com. I confronted Guy Fieri. I brought my camera along with me, and I had some words with him because I had to call him out because it was a sickening display when I got there, there was lines out the door. This book, you wouldn't believe, Danny, the line at this bookstore was wrapped around the bookstore and out the door. And there were these young girls, these young teenage girls or even preteen girls. And I was interviewing them before I confronted Guy Fieri to get a feel for the kind of atmosphere there. And these young girls were reveling over Guy Fieri as if they were meeting Bieber himself. And it made me sick to my stomach to see girls fawning over this butcher, this devourer of life, Guy Fieri, this gluttonous god to these young girls. It was sickening to me. So it made me even more want to confront this monster, and I confronted him face to face. I exchanged some words with him. You could see it on the video on my YouTube channel, and his henchmen, the Guy Fieri henchmen, kicked me out. They escorted me out of the building and threatened to call the police on me. So, but I said what I needed to say, and my message got across, and that was the morally right thing to do.
All right. I'd like to thank you so much, Jacob the Lifetarian, for coming on the show. I'm going to invite you to come back. I'm also going to invite you to leave your contact information and your websites and all of your doodads in the comments below as well, on both the fan page and on the YouTube channel, because you are an excellent guest.
Yeah, I'd be happy to come back on. There's a lot to my career here that we could get to discuss, but it was a good icebreaker. It was a good introduction to Lifetarianism, and I always have upcoming events and exposés that I do. I do man on the street type interviews, and I go to local events and confront people I disagree with. I went to a Trump rally. I went to a St. Patrick's Day parade, the Guy Fieri confrontation, a video game convention I went to, and one of my upcoming events I'm looking to do is go to a local porn convention and do an expose there and interview some folks and do some observational Lifetarian exposing of my enemies. So look forward to that coming out. In the
Awesome.
meantime, yeah, you can check me out on YouTube at Jacob the Lifetarian, or my Facebook page. You can find me Jacob Weiss or Jacob the Lifetarian. And until then, eat dirt, everybody. It's good for your body.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on, Danny.
See ya.